This is a speculative scenario based on current events. Forge News here with a story that could redefine the battlefield in the Middle East. Picture this. One single hypersonic missile streaks through the sky at 15 times the speed of sound, slips past every defense system, and in one blinding flash takes out 12 U.S. officers at a forward command post. Iran's Fattah-2 just delivered what some are calling the deadliest precision strike on American forces in decades. If this scenario plays out, the balance of power shifts overnight, and the world holds its breath. Stay with us, because we're breaking down every angle, from the missile's terrifying capabilities to the human cost and what it means for America right now. Welcome to Forge News, your source for unfiltered updates on the escalating 2026 Iran war. It all started on February 28th, when U.S. and Israeli forces launched surprise strikes deep into Iran, targeting leadership and military sites. Those opening blows changed everything, taking out key figures and forcing Iran into immediate retaliation under Operation True Promise 4. Iran didn't hold back, unleashing hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles toward Israel and every U.S. base across the Gulf. From Al Udeid in Qatar to Al Dhafra in the UAE, from Kuwait's Shuaibah port to bases in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, Iranian projectiles rained down. Real strikes already claimed at least 13 American service members, including 6 in one drone, hit on a makeshift operations center in Kuwait. Damage estimates from those early waves top $800 million across 17 U.S.-linked sites. Now enter the Fattah-2, Iran's newest hypersonic glide vehicle, first unleashed in combat just days into the fighting. Iranian sources released footage showing this advanced missile maneuvering in ways that leave traditional defenses scrambling. It doesn't follow a simple arc like older ballistic rockets. Instead, it glides at Mach 13 to 15, changing direction mid-flight to dodge interceptors. Range around 1,400 kilometers, enough to reach key U.S. positions from Iranian launch sites. In our speculative scenario, one Fattah-2 locks onto a fortified U.S. command center, perhaps a high-value operations hub supporting air and naval missions in the Gulf. The missile penetrates layered defenses that had stopped previous waves, slamming home with devastating accuracy. 12 officers, including senior planners coordinating regional responses, are killed instantly in the blast and collapse. No ordinary rocket could pull this off. The Fattah-2's glide vehicle lets it approach from unexpected angles at speeds that overwhelm radar tracking. Iranian state media would likely hail it as proof their arsenal now dominates the skies. They have already claimed similar precision against Israeli command posts, and this scenario extends that edge to American targets. U.S. Central Command has not confirmed the strike in our scenario, but satellite imagery and initial reports would show a cratered facility and urgent evacuations. Families back home would learn the news through official notifications, turning abstract war into personal tragedy. The human toll hits hard. These officers were experienced leaders, many with years in the region, now gone in seconds. This isn't just numbers, it's leadership wiped out, forcing immediate command shakeups on the ground. Forge News analysts note how the Fattah-2 changes the game because older U.S. systems like Patriot and THAAD struggle against true hypersonic gliders. The missile sustains extreme heat during re-entry, yet keeps control, something even Western powers are still perfecting. In the broader war timeline, Iran has already closed the Strait of Hormuz, spiking global oil prices and squeezing energy markets. Tankers reroute, insurance costs soar, and everyday Americans feel it at the pump. Our speculative Fattah-2 strike would only accelerate calls in Washington for stronger retaliation. President Trump has already signaled possible further action while weighing ways to wind down the conflict. Yet, losing 12 officers in one hit could push for escalated strikes on Iranian missile factories or leadership bunkers. Iran, under its new supreme leader, would vow more waves, promising that every U.S. base remains in range. Allies like Saudi Arabia and the UAE tighten security, while Israel coordinates fresh intercepts over its own skies. Global reaction pours in fast. The United Nations Security Council holds emergency sessions condemning the violence on all sides. Russia and China issue statements urging de-escalation, but quietly note Iran's technological leap. European nations debate sending more assets to Cyprus after earlier Iranian drone probes there. Here at Forge News, we look back at history to understand the stakes. Remember the 1980s tanker war in the Gulf, when Iran and the U.S. clashed over shipping lanes? Or the 2019-2020 tensions after Soleimani's killing, when Iran fired ballistic missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq with no fatalities? This time, the technology and the body count are different, raising the risk of direct superpower confrontation. The Fattah-2 represents years of Iranian investment, building on earlier models to create a weapon that maneuvers like nothing before. Experts watching the conflict say traditional air defenses need a complete rethink, shifting from point protection to zone coverage. In our scenario, that rethink comes too late for those 12 officers. Military families across America would demand answers. How did one missile get through? Pentagon briefings would highlight the need for more advanced interceptors and better intelligence on Iranian launch sites. Meanwhile, Iranian streets might see celebrations of the strike as a symbol of resistance, even as their own cities absorb ongoing U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. Hospitals and schools in Iran have already taken hits, adding layers of civilian suffering on both sides. Forge News tracks the economic ripple effects too. Oil jumping past $120 a barrel disrupts supply chains worldwide. Stock markets dip on fears of wider war, while defense contractors see surges in demand. Shipping companies reroute around the blocked strait, adding weeks to delivery times for goods. Everyday viewers like you feel this in higher gas prices and uncertain headlines. What happens next in our scenario? U.S. forces could surge more Marines and carriers into the region, already deploying additional assets. Iran might launch follow-up salvos mixing drones with more Fattah-2s to overwhelm remaining defenses. Diplomacy could open back channels, perhaps through Oman or Qatar, seeking ceasefire terms. But with 12 officers lost, any talks would carry heavier pressure for accountability. The war that began less than a month ago has already cost billions in lives on multiple fronts. Hezbollah's parallel fighting in Lebanon adds another theater, stretching resources thinner. Houthi groups in Yemen signal readiness to join if the strait remains contested. At Forge News, we present the full picture without bias, just the facts driving decisions. This speculative strike highlights how quickly modern missiles can change outcomes. It forces leaders to weigh escalation against the human and economic price. Viewers often ask us, could this lead to direct U.S.-Iran ground fighting? Right now, the conflict stays in the air and missile domain, but one more devastating hit could tip that balance. Families of those 12 officers would grieve while the nation debates its next move. Iran would frame the event as self-defense after the initial February 28th strikes that removed its top leadership. Both sides claim justice, yet civilians and soldiers pay the cost. Forge News will keep monitoring every development, from satellite confirmations to official statements. If this scenario unfolds, expect urgent congressional hearings and calls for new defense funding. Technology like the Fattah-2 pushes allies to share intelligence faster and upgrade systems together. The Middle East has seen many conflicts, but hypersonic weapons add a new layer of unpredictability. In closing this deep dive, remember the real stakes behind the headlines: lives lost, families shattered, and a region on edge. We at Forge News urge staying informed as events move fast. Check back for updates, because one missile like the Fattah-2 can rewrite the rules overnight. This remains a speculative scenario grounded in the ongoing war's real patterns of strikes, casualties, and advancing Iranian missile tech. Thank you for watching Forge News. Stay safe and stay tuned.